Welcome back, everyone, to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. As you can see, it is starting off already. It's Red Ball Express. Everyone loves this map. The players are going to be Delays as the Soviets. 7721687 numbers. The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? He's the Americans. And we have Sky Jenkins as the Soviets and No as the Soviets. And on the enemy team, we have our people who sent in the replay. It is the Galleon squad and the Umbakant. Where's Umbakant? I can't find Umbakant. There we are. So, Galleon squad and Umbakant as respectively Wehrmacht and OKW. Their friends are going to be Trebiagd Smokebee as the OKW and the Goalkeeper as the Wehrmacht. So, yeah. Why is he building them facing that way? Quiet on the western front. Yeah, no one's fighting. Looks like the sniper, though, has decided to break this quiet. And right now they're trying to get to the sniper. Not gonna work out though, because the sniper's gonna just kite away, take some damage, but the Volksgrenadiers just have to escape out of there, and yeah, it's sad for them. Now I'll just leave this going for 1 second. Emergency, and I'm not gonna go ahead and edit the whole video just for that. Anyway, on the other side, we seem to have some problems for the Axis as well. So the Americans went for a fighting position, and that's an interesting choice, and actually helped them out very greatly, as it allowed them to not get suppressed by the MG42 heavy machine gun team. But in the center, it seems like Umbakant is pushing in with the Pioneers, killing one of those engineer squads, and then he's also trying to kind of push away these Maxims from Blaze, and it's working out just fine, as the Maxims just don't have enough pushing power of their own. It seems like the Soviets, despite their sniper advantage, they lost it. They lost the sniper. So because they lost the sniper, and because of the fact that their friends over here, Sky Jenkins, he's also not doing too much, well, it seems like the Nazis have controlled the right side. So that's pretty good for them. Dry machine gun fire. Okay, so the Allies are doing pretty well on the left-hand side, but oh crap, they're about to lose a rifleman squad. That's just not good. So despite the early, I guess, victories of the Allies, they got really crushed. They got really crushed in the end there. So bad for them. They're gonna need to come back into this in some way. One good way is going to be to spam penals, as the two Soviets on the south are doing. In the north, there's going to be the American/Soviet Tier 2 alliance. And yeah, lots of Sturmpyos trying to fight off the penals. But yeah, it looks like one of the squads has to run away. And the second squad leaves the Volksgrenadiers to be closer to the enemy units, which not exactly optimal. Wow, these mortars are firing quickly. And it's two mortars, and two mortars from Goalkeeper are really doing... Well, they're not really dealing any damage, but I guess they're scaring them. Ooh, Maxim. Maxim kind of getting flanked. It is supported by a second Maxim from the rear, which is doing its job quite well, but... Can they deal with all these Germans? I mean, the conscripts at close range should do decently enough, but there's two enemy squads. So there they go, and wow, the mortar shell landing on top of the Grenadiers, doing a lot of damage, saving the Allied North in a way. Going back to the south, it seems like the Penals are trying yet again to push in, but it's not really working. It seems like No has gone for some Guards Rifle Infantry. Such charge will miss, and the other Penal squad will be absolutely massacred by the Sturmpyos coming in from the flank. Goalkeeper went for a half-track, and that's a great decision so that he can reinforce his support weapons on the field. And that's gonna give his guys a lot more staying power, but no, he decides to instantly upgrade that to a flamethrower. Which might be a good idea, but the Allies were prepared for this. They went for a Guards Rifle Squad, and they're upgrading it with PTRSs, so this is going to be very difficult for the Axis to deal with. Just with the half-track, they're going to need to develop some pretty good coordination with the infantry. So Sky Jenkins and No seem to be going with just pure kind of upper-tier infantry. We have a shock troop squad from Delays. Looks like he has gone for the shock army. So, of course, he can get 120mm mortars as well as shock troops. We'll see if he can make use of those. And 772 is still, of course, he's got the infantry company, and he's still kind of just working with only one rifleman squad because he's lost one. He's got the fighting position. He's trying to hold on to the left-hand side with a might be a stolen MG42. Yeah, probably a stolen Maxim, okay. Umbukant also going for a half-track, this time supported by some Panzergrenadiers. That looks like a lot of allies. They need to run away. And PTRS is, once again, kind of pushing back the half-track from the front line, not allowing it to do really that much in terms of support. This one is not getting instantly upgraded, partially because it's just not in the Axis territory, so who knows if he actually wants to upgrade it or not. He so far is just using it so that these Germans can reinforce, which is a very, very good usage of the half-track anyway. So that's pretty good. Sturmpowers in the center left, kind of just pushing in. Lots of SPG-44 infantry coming in from the Germans. Assault rifles just blazing away. So Panzergrenadiers and Sturm Pioneers really ahoy. Might not be the best idea ever. Because, like, this is a map where the long range really can work out. You can funnel these sort of shorter range assault infantry into killing fields with machine guns relatively easily, but so far, because of the fact that the Allies haven't had that many machine guns at their disposal, it's not really been much of an issue for the Germans to really make use of their superior firepower from their infantry. Still though, it seems like the Americans are trying to reverse that with the lieutenant, and of course the Soviets over here, wow, that was a great rifle grenade, wipes out a squad. And of course the Soviets over here also aren't, you know, anything to laugh at with their firepower due to the penals, but hey, we'll see if they can continue, if the Germans can continue just rolling through with their steamroller infantry blob, supported by the half-track. And this is exactly why I was thinking that Goalkeeper was maybe gonna use the half-track to reinforce for a while, but yeah, it seems like the Germans, in the end, got through with that. And yeah, we just have a very, very, very relentless push from Umbukant, just pushing the enemy all the way back to the base, which is very, very good. However, at this point, you're just pushing them closer to their base, and so to their reinforcement point. So you're kind of nullifying your own advantage of the half-track by doing this. And, you know, at this point, it also becomes difficult for Panzergrenadiers and Sturm Pioneers to get into close range with the enemy, because guess what? If you get too close, you're going to get hit by the machine guns from the base. So you're going to get suppressed by those. So what I would like for the Germans to do right now is to kind of switch their axis of attack more towards kind of a left hook, in a way, going more towards the center of the map to clear that, which has been done sort of successfully. And now they need to sort of push up with their own sector forces in there to support the mobile kind of contingent. The 120mm mortars are being very useful, and it looks like the half-track is taking heavy damage, barely avoiding the last 120mm mortar round, which would have caused a lot of damage. But it seems like the Germans are trading very favorably, even against some very expensive infantry such as shock troops. One thing that they are doing is that they are using a lot of their munitions and like grenades and stuff, but it's working out for them. Shock troops almost wiped out by the Flammenwerfers. Yeah, these infantry are just continuously reinforcing on the field and are able to just provide that much more pressure. T-70 is now on the field for No, and that's going to be a very great, very, 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 very great tool against what we see right now, because it doesn't matter how much these guys can reinforce. If the T-70 can continuously fire on them, it will pick them off at a very, very jarring rate. and essentially bleed them dry of manpower. So what this will force the Axis to do is spend some of their manpower getting some AT guns. Treibjagd right now could do that. He's got 4 Sturmpiles and a, Fallschirmjäger. So with 870 manpower in the reserve, he really needs to get some Raketenwerfers. We have a pack over here from Ubekant. Looks like, no, sorry, not Ubekant, Goalkeeper. And of course, Panzerfaust also coming in on the T-70. So the T-70 needs to be careful of these things, but it also can, again, just be a very, very, very nasty tool in the hands of the Allies. Well done. Half-track is already up to Vet 3 because of the shared experience. So now its radius of like, how do you even call it? Its reinforced radius is actually very, very long. Like, for example, these guys over here would get reinforced from the half-track. So that's very, very strong. Now Ubekant just needs to keep this half-track alive for a long while, which is going to be a lot more difficult once, yeah, these 76mm field guns start to really make their appearance felt. But once again, like, that Vet 3 kind of indirectly helps the survivability of the half-track, because for it to do its job, aka to reinforce the infantry, it's gonna need to be it's not gonna need to be as close to the action, so it's gonna be safer by proxy. Oh yeah, big flak 38. Oh, that's a lot of Panzerschrecks. T-70 is in trouble. He actually gets missed by basically every Panzerschreck shot. And now these Sturm Pioneers are in a very bad position. They're being crossfired by 2 T-70s. That is not where they want to be, but they do manage to get some Panzerschrecks off. 2 Sturm Pioneer squads go down, and the third one is likely to be absolutely executed by the BARs. So Brownings blazing away. That's 3 Sturm Pioneer squads dead for Smoke B. That is bad, like 900 manpower worth of Sturm Pioneers, and also, how much is one of these? I think it's like 70 for the Panzerschreck pack. No, the anti-tank combat package. 70. Yeah, okay. So that's 210 munitions and 900 manpower just down the drain. That is a big, big turning point. And Allies are now starting to really turn it up a notch with the vehicles. We've also got the M5 Stuart, but the M5 Stuart will go down to the Panzerschreck squads of Ubekant. And, oh, those squads though are going to be in trouble because of the rockets coming in. The Katyusha rocket launcher, well aimed barrage. Looks like it's going to kill the Vet-free half-track. It does not. Luckily for the half-track, very close to dying, but it survives. Smokey is actually dropping some Fallschirmjägers likely on the Katyusha. Or, no, I guess back at the headquarters. And yet another flak emplacement, this time very close to the action, which is... Yeah, this is just a very, very aggressive flak emplacement. Most likely not a good idea. It's just gonna dash the AT gun. Missed. Whoa, flak emplacements got buffed. They just absolutely obliterate infantry now. But they die to mortars just as well. Well, spotting scopes for the Flammenwerfers. Interesting choice. Yeah, Germans once again trying to break the center. This is a bad idea. This half-track is gonna die in like 20 seconds. But anyway, I do like what these Germans are doing. They're putting up a lot of pressure on the center. They're not allowing the Allies to really put down roots. And now that they have a Panzer IV from Galleon Squad, they can really start to put in the hurt. Because this thing's HE is very, very strong. Of course, now he is able to come in and inflict a lot of damage on the Allied infantry to support also the German infantry. Nice bundle grenade, absolutely smashes these elite infantry squads that were standing still. And now the Katyusha barrage itself will be dropped on these Fallschirmjägers, taking a lot of damage, but they're kind of able to avoid it. Yeah, they're barely able to avoid it. In the meantime, the Panzer IV, though, is being suppressed or buttoned by the guards, and the Penals are trying to get in close to throw a satchel charge, but they are not the anti-tank Penals. And so they throw a normal satchel charge, which does not do anything except kind of blow up some ground. So Axis kind of successful in their push. However, they're going to have to contend with progressively stronger Allied forces. The resource income is relatively similar for both sides, so in the attrition game, it is going to be the Germans that slowly but surely get the advantage when it comes to just the, I guess, efficiency of units per price. German units that are relatively similar in price generally perform better, but in the early to mid-game, the Allies are still going to have a lot of advantages at their disposal, especially when it comes to medium armor that's cheap and effective, and also artillery, but looks like that artillery is not having the best of days. Panzerschreck squads being dropped by the half-track behind enemy lines to destroy these mortars was successful, but the vet-free half-track is lost in the process, which might be a bigger loss than those mortar half-tracks. The VP game is also in favor of the Germans. We can see that the Nazis right about now have control over the center. And now, if they can really pump out some armor, they're going to be in a great spot. Really now? Really? Fortified armor? Well, okay. Looks like we have fortified armor and a Command Panzer IV hull down. That's not something you see every day. Germans advancing, nicely using the Flammenwerfer half-track to destroy the 120mm mortar group. In terms of the armor situation, we have that the Germans are ahead when it comes to that, because we have one T-34-76 and one T-70 versus, well, one normal Panzer IV and one Command Panzer IV. And then, of course, the Flame half-track. So we have a bit of a slight advantage for the Germans, but oh, looks like we're going to have a nice marked vehicle on the Panzer IV Command. Sorry, not the Panzer IV Command, the Panzer IV Ops J. And that's going to allow the T-34-76 to win the duel by getting in behind it, making sure that its 76mm cannon is actually going to penetrate every shot. It does go down in the process, but that is a nice one-on-one trade, a nice suicidal trade, because the T-34-76 is by far the cheaper vehicle of the two. Looks like we have a time on target? Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Looks like we have a time on target from the Americans smashing into something. Katyusha are still just absolutely obliterating German troops and emplacements, and yet another German push to try to push back these allies from the center is gonna kind of fail, kind of succeed. You know, doing a lot of damage, but not really dislodging the allies from their positions. So this is gonna continue on for a little bit while longer. Su-85 on the field for delays. He's up to tier 4. Numbers guy. Numbers guy is not up to tier 4. That is bad for him. He might want to go for some priests, but we'll see. Sky Jenkins, also tier 4, and no, also tier 4. So the Soviets are fully at their tier 4s. We have the Sky Jenkins can push out some T-34-85s, although so far he has been limiting himself to T-34-76s and Katyusha rockets. No can also push out KV-1 heavy tanks, but that's not a good idea. And Delays can get a gun howitzer, 152mm, which might be a very good choice. In terms of the Germans, we have Galleon Squad, of course, with tier 4, getting out of Panther after his Panzer IV was destroyed. Goalkeeper is up to tier 4 as well, so heavy tier 4 play from everyone involved. Panzerwerfers from him, so trying to counter those Katyushas and get some rocket artillery to suppress enemy infantry assaults of his own. And then we have Smokebee with four Fallschirmjägers, and that's a bad decision. 300, sorry, fuel, with Schwerpanzer headquarters up. So let's see if he can actually use his Schwerpanzer headquarters to get something done and get some heavy armor out in the field. It seems like the half-track is gonna die to the T-34-76, which is very, very bad, but oh well. Unbekannt. Yeah, I guess Unbekannt is kind of waiting for the elephant from the fortified armor, but also kind of getting some tier 3 units of his own. He hasn't gotten any tier 3 out yet, but he might. He's probably just waiting for the elephant tank destroyer, which might not be the best choice ever, but it's gonna definitely counter the Su-85. The reason I'm saying it's not the best choice, perhaps in this situation, is that the Allies seem to be going with a lot of medium tanks. And the fact that they saw guards should point them to the fact that they might see T-34-85s in the future as well. And oh boy, these T-70s are just absolutely obliterating the red blob yet again. Red blob of Smokebee. So that's absolutely terrible, terrifying. Anyway, so that's the situation. The Germans are about to get some pretty big advantages, but the Allies can also have some, you know, pointy things about them. They can do quite a bit of damage with their artillery. They can do quite a bit of damage with their medium armor by flanking any tank destroyers that the Germans might build, like the Elephant, and also by, you know, just being nasty. Panther gonna get buttoned up, and actually some marked vehicle is going on it. So T-34-76 does a lot of damage, but it does survive, just barely. Nice harassment from these Fallschirmjägers of the left-hand side. VP will secure that for Germany, as the center has been secured by the Allies. So a bit of VP dynamism going on, not a bad thing from either side. And the Allies are actually down to 181 VPs, so it's not looking all that good for them. And Sky Jenkins is replaced by the AI. So that's very, very bad once again for the Allies. What is good for the Allies is the fact that we do see some artillery coming down from delays. And yeah, the artillery is of course quite important. This thing can actually quite randomly destroy these, yeah. What did I say? It actually destroyed the Panzerwerfer. Very well done, ML20. Yep, one vehicle destroyed. Oh, the AT line of the Germans is so strong. The Allies are going to need to do something about this. T-70 gonna suicide, it seems. This pants for command tank. What a boss. And looks like the T-34-76 will finally explode over here. Yeah, Panther versus T-34-76. Not a good fight for T-34. Stuka barrage. Sorry, not Stuka barrage. Stuka close air support. Falling down there. Not really doing that much. Really now? Are you gonna walk into the AT line yet again? You know there's an AT gun line there, and now the Panther has an opportunity to actually push in. The only reason it's not gonna take it is because he is afraid of the Penal Battalion with the satchels. Now that that's gone, he could probably just push in and finish the job on the Su-85. In the center, it seems like the T-34s are having some decent success at clearing out German infantry, but of course the Panzer IV command vehicle is still around there and is still kind of a thorn in the Allied side. And oh boy. More Guards troops standing by for no. So that's okay. There goes the T-34-76. Is that the Elephant? It is the Elephant actually being hauled down just to get the extra rate of fire. And what else does the haul down give? Defenses and damage. Well, it most definitely increases rate of fire, but defenses, well, you know, of course it gives them more. Gives them some kind of either HP or armor buff. And he's also in the presence of a command tank radio net, so he's actually receiving even more buffs. Here comes some rockets on both sides of the equation. Priest also on the field for 7/7, you know, numbers guy. So it's starting to turn into that nasty firepower game late game. So we'll see if either of these sides can actually push forward with this and counter battery the enemy more effectively and also take down their tank destroyers more effectively, which is going to be pretty much the way that these guys are going to be looking to win, I would say. Looks like we have some artillery coming down. It's in a bad spot though, so I'm not going to do anything. The elephant that's hauled down is an interesting choice because, I mean, while it kind of makes sense, you know, it's a defensive tank destroyer, just haul it down. It cannot turn around. It does not have a turret. So that means that it's essentially an anti-tank gun. It's an anti-tank gun that takes longer to reposition. So I don't know. Considering how expensive the elephant is, that might not be the best way to, I guess, handicap it. I don't know. What is the actual range of the elephant, though? Can it actually be useful from there? Who knows? I certainly don't. And I'm the caster, so yeah. Is that an airborne assault? Yes, it is. So the Germans are now down when it comes to the VPs. The Axis are at 444, but the Allies are at 160. So what this means is that if the Allies can really push for the center VP, for the left VP, and get, sorry, not the Allies, the Axis, for the center VP, for the left VP, if they can get at least one of those guys, and if they can get both, they're gonna essentially defeat the enemy in like 2.5 minutes. If they can get at least one of those, that timer's gonna go up to, you know, 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes, but it is gonna be a very short timer indeed. So the Allies need to be a lot more careful about the VP game at this point than the Axis need to. So it's pretty bad because that's gonna divert their forces more. Well, that's the point. What you say? Requiem. More Katyusha? Oh, well. More rockets, just overall. Let's see. Assault guns coming in. T-34, 85 this time. From the AI. Tries to do something, but it's likely just gonna die to the Panther. And at this point, things are starting to look a lot worse for the Allies than they were just a few minutes ago. Partially because one of their members is an AI, and partially because the Germans have reached the late game of their tech tree. It seems like, however, they're trying to use artillery to kind of make up for these disadvantages, and it's partially working. German infantry trying to push in the west, taking some fire, but yeah, well, of course they weren't able to really take anything, because if they stand still for 1 second, they are gonna get obliterated by a bunch of artillery. And it kind of seems like actually all the Allies are sharing their artillery pieces kind of randomly, because they're getting decrewed so often by these Panzerwerfers that they need to do that. So like you have, you know, this guy with the 82mm mortar that might not be his. You've got the Soviet with the Pack howitzer. You've got the American with the 120mm mortar. So that's the situations the Allies are kind of finding themselves in. More T-34s coming through, and they're going to be a great tool against these Obersoldaten, but they need to be careful because there's AT guns and there's Panthers, and yeah, T-34 goes down. Actually, the Sturmpanzer Brimbeer helped out quite a bit with the destruction of that T-34, and now, yes, it's going to town on the infantry. Very well done. More artillery rounds falling through everywhere. And I hear a very, very big vehicle. It is the Elephant moving around, but it is also the KT. So Germans really starting to get into that big, heavy armor. Panther, unluckily for it, gets absolutely ambushed by some guards' rifles who were able to button vehicle and get him destroyed because he was showing the rear armor to a couple of Su-85s. Well, very well done by the Allies. Galleon Squad kind of pushing in way too far with his Panther, and now he's building a Kugelwagen. Not sure why. It seems like the KT is also trying to push in, but there's a time on target artillery, so it needs to be careful. It's actually decided to, instead of reverse away from the time on target artillery, push into the enemy lines. That's a very bad decision because it's got no support, neither infantry nor vehicles. And because of this, the Su-85s are just able to easily stay out of its line of sight and pepper at it with massive 85mm penetrating shells, destroying it in the process. Using the T-34 to block the escape path of the King Tiger was a great move by Delays. So with that, the Germans lose one of their biggest assets, essentially, and something that they have been waiting to unleash for a while. So this is very, very bad for them, of course. Kind of gives the Allies a little bit more of a glimmer of hope, especially considering that their artillery is still intact and firing every once in a while at the Axis positions. In fact, well, one of the artillery pieces has been destroyed by a Stuka bombing strike, but a second one has been built by Delays, who has a fair reserve of manpower. So he can replace these artillery pieces if they fall every once in a while. Of course, he cannot replace the veterancy on them, but that's going to be coming with time. Barschmegers doing very well against these shocks, but the shocks also, not joking, doing quite a bit of damage. Wow. Artillery falling in on everything and everyone. Yeah, despite their successes, the Allies are still having some difficulties, of course, due to the overall situation of the game, and now they're being pushed back kind of into the base. This is, of course, not very good for them. Nice Il-2 Sturmgewehr attacks will kind of stop this German infantry push. The Elephant, though, is something that they're going to need to deal with, because, again, they're being slowly but surely being pushed back into the base. And they need to kind of break this siege. And to do that, the main way is going to be to destroy this Elephant. The Elephant is being protected right now by Teller mines on the flanks. Yes, my friend. So apparently kamikaze into the Kugelwagen. I'm still not sure why the Kugelwagen's here. The Kugelwagen could just go left and cap the VP, I guess. I don't know. As I was saying, the Elephant is being a kind of a pain in the rear because it can just really put the hurt on the Allied vehicles, just poking at them every once in a while. And while staying safe, again, with the telemines, with the hold down Panzer IV providing support for it, and a second KT from Smoke B just coming straight after the first one. Let's hope that he can actually support this one in some way. His Schwer Panzer Porters is going to die soon, but it's not like he's using that front rank lately. T-3476 does die to a bunch of Panzerschrecks, and also a second Elephant on the field from Goalkeeper, who is, of course, the Jaeger Armor Doctrine. So the two Elephants, if they support the KT, there's going to be no armored force that can really stop this. But the KT, once again, goes in alone for some reason. It didn't go well the first time. What makes you think it's going to go well the second time? So we have 57mm anti-tank guns popping the discarding Sabo rounds, and it seems like the T-34 is once again flanking into the rear, preventing it from escaping. Lots of damage coming through on the support weapon line due to the Panzer Rifle barrage, but now that the KT is gone, there's not really much that can spearhead the advance and deal the crippling blow to the Allied infantry that the Germans need. However, they're trying to do so with their infantry, and there's also another KT from Galleon Squad, so yeah, this KT is going to be hopefully used a little bit better. Here comes the time on target barrage on the half-track and on the tanks. It's probably going to destroy the half-track, which is not being microed away, unfortunately. Or I guess it's going to completely miss, not missed. And now that the German infantry is there and there's kind of a coordinated push going, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the Allies to solve this problem, because their Su-85s are not gonna have the chance anymore to just sit back and poke at the King Tiger, and the T-34s are not nearly going to be as free to charge in behind the KT as they were before. Sturmpanzerbrummbär, its thing. Wow. I love that Brummbär, but it's gonna die. There it goes. Still though, in the meantime, Elephant has destroyed one of those Su-85s. Where's the second Elephant? It's here. Okay, kind of derping around. Not doing too much. But it's not looking that good for the Allies. It's just not looking that good. Nice push. Actually using the smoke to cover himself, but the Katyusha barrage, the well-placed Katyusha barrage, is actually going to turn back this advance because of all the damage that's been dealt to these advanced troops. The KT itself is in big trouble because of the Su-85 firepower that is in the rear lines of the Allied forces here. Nice Stuka barrage, not Stuka barrage, Stuka close air support is going to be falling in on the artillery piece. KT main gun destroyed. Let's see if the T-34-76 can get the killing shot or the ramming to destroy. Oh, he can't ram anymore because of the damaged engine, or I mean, it's still ram, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And T-34 dies. Il-2 attacks, kind of obliterating the infantry with 20mm cannons, sending their pieces of their bodies flying off, but not much more than that. T-34-76 does die to the stubby 75mm of the Panzer IV command tank. The Panzerwerfer is being kind of left there without any support, which is kind of weird, but yeah, the Germans are going to go back and lick their wounds, repair some of their vehicles that are damaged. There goes the Il-2 and the branch of the tree is just falling miles away into the Mechanized Regiment headquarters. I guess they have new camouflage over there. More Fallschirmjägers being dropped, and that's the true meaning of anti-aircraft. They actually meant anti-paratrooper. Anti-air landing infantry. Which is not a paratrooper, actually. Air landing as if they are gliders. Paratroopers as if they are parachutes. I don't know. This guy's still alive. This boss half-track has 36 kills. What a man. These half-tracks are really like MVPs over here. Like, they have really been helpful. Like, honestly, I guess... What an idiot! The worst Panzerwerfer you've ever seen. See, I was just about to praise him for 51 kills, you know, for being a he's technically kind of a half-track. You know, he was so useful, but he actually almost destroyed Schwer Panzer quarters. I'm not sure how it works. That by standing here and aiming its rockets like above here. Oh, I guess it's the antenna. No, it's not the antenna. I guess it's just the model is retarded. It's just that the model is very retarded. Anyway, so these half-tracks have been very, very helpful to the Germans. You have, from Ubakant, his half-track, or his half-tracks, because this is the second one, were just instrumental in keeping his infantry alive and pushing the entire game. So instrumental to kind of the sustainability of his attacks. And then you had the other man over here, Goalkeeper, with the Flammenwerfer, just always there to clear up any enemy forces on the right side. Of course, many of these kills are against AI, but they were very useful because it allowed his troops to have more uses on other fronts, because he had already kind of established his zone of control just with the half-track on the right side, because he only needed that to clear out the random infantry squads that were camping. And yeah, also helped out presumably at defending his elephant against enemy infantry assaults, so that's very, very good, of course. And the elephant haul down, I'm still not sure about it. Not really the most effective thing, it seems. But oh well. And yeah, now I don't think that the Allies really are going to have much of a chance to come back, because again, they're lacking a player. And while they may have strong forces of TDs still around, and, you know, overall very solid infantry corps, the Germans just have too much. They have, you know, a KT, they're going to have the third KT from Smokeby soon. They have a couple of elephants, and it's just going to be difficult for them to deal with running for this. Yet another half-track, another half-track flank coming out of the Panzer Grenadiers landed on the rear of the enemy forces, destroying one of the priests, destroying the second of the priests. Someone called the Pope. This is absolutely haram. Destroying the second priest, and now trying to get into the rear, but he has to escape because of the T-34-76. Still though, more Panzerschrecks coming in, destroying the ambulance. This time it is the OKW Panzerschrecks, and then supporting the King Tiger against the T-34-76. I'm not quite sure what the T-34-76 thinks it is doing. It will be absolutely smashed by the 88mm main gun of the Elephant, but one of the Panzer Shrek squads, no, actually they're both alive, good. And massive Su-85 counter-push, however, will severely menace the German armed force. However, they're bunched up, so they're going to take quite a bit of damage from these rockets. They're also just absolutely funneling themselves, kind of sardine canning themselves into a very small area where they're absolutely crossfired into doom and oblivion by all the German guns waiting for them. Both the Elephants and the Panther and the King Tiger just all working together to smash that kind of counterattack, kind of half-assed counterattack. And now we have the Königstiger trying to move in, and that's probably not going to be a good thing if you're one of these shock troops. Oh, he fired and missed. Well, how pathetic. Still though, despite all the anti-tank guns that are still alive, the Germans capped the VP, and with 51 VPs left, and with mostly no units left, I don't see the Allies coming back into this. I don't see the Allies coming back into this. Yet another half-track coming through from Mukad. He's really liking that, and Delays has been replaced by AI. This was probably just a rage quit, so yeah. I'm gonna speed it up. What the Allies should have done differently, in my opinion, they should have relied less on tank destroyers, although it is Red Ball Express, so it's very difficult not to do that. And yeah, they should have been more careful to get out T-34-85s earlier, because honestly that would have been so useful against the Elephant. And yeah, other than that, not really much else. I mean, there's not much else that they could have done, even, because the Germans played very, very well. Very, very well. From the half-track plays to, well, except for the OKW player, Smokeby, who had some very derpy moments. From the half-track play to, like, the unorthodox, you could say, unorthodox hold-down play. And, of course, the Elephants, yeah, in the end, they just worked out together in the end. And they also seem to have kind of better synergy of their strategies. So, like, the Allies did have some pretty solid teamwork. They had, you know, players kind of supporting each other all over. But the Axis took it a step further, and they had a couple of guys going with very, very heavy tank destroyers, then one guy, Galleon Squad, going for medium tanks. And then you had yet fourth guy, Smokeby, just kind of being a derp. So it worked out together a little bit better than what the Allies did, which didn't seem to be fitting together all that well. You had one of the Soviet players going for a lot of Su-85s, then you had another Soviet player doing very much the same, despite the fact that they had different options available to them due to their doctrines. Then you had a third Soviet player that was kind of focusing on the infantry and artillery side of things, but that perhaps could have offered them something else, and they all just kind of got some Katyushas whenever they had the chance, not really caring to think what their teammates were trying to do, not really caring what they were lacking, what they were, you know, oversupplied with, you could say. And yeah, in the end, bit them in the ass. So yeah, I want to thank you all for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you soon. Have a good day.